how did you start a fashion line? Like, actually, because there are going to be people listening to this that are,
Mhm.
I mean, maybe just for you, but also maybe because they're inspired to be a fashion designer, to be a creative director of their own brand. And I just want to know
Yeah.
the nitty gritty of how you started. How, like, did you have money to start it? Like all those things to get it
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, this is like some of my favorite conversations to have because none of like I cannot do anything for anyone except for like give away all the knowledge that I have, and it's never the only way to do things, but it is what worked for me, and there's mistakes along the way and lessons to be learned that other people won't have to make. So I was happy to share at least my experience of what it was like. So the very first thing I ever made goes back years and years and years ago. And I started I don't even really call myself a fashion designer until maybe like this year. But a long time ago, I was interested in making clothes for whatever reason. And most people are probably at that point where they're like, I'm interested in making clothes. If you're interested in making clothes, there's classes you can take, and you can sit at home and buy your sewing machine or rent one from the public library. Shout out to the public library. And you can take some YouTube classes and start to learn how to sew. And that's kind of how I tested my interest in this. Then once I was like, I'm definitely interested in this, how do I go from, I think there's a really big step that's really hard to overcome. That's like, I make my own clothes pretty well, or I can alter my own clothes pretty well, or I can draw what I'd like to produce pretty well, to how do I produce that? And how do I produce that at a scale that could become a business that supports itself? That step is like really, really big. And for me, it was the hardest step.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I went straight. I do sort of two things. I make custom one-off suits for one customer at a time. I only make one, and that's all that ever exists in the world. And then also, what I've now started doing is an e-com site, which is more of what you typically see of selling clothes online through a brand that's got a community built by it and everything like that. Those are very two different. Those are two very different business models.
Yeah.
And I think like the very first step I could say, if I could do this all again in my memory, was to make exactly what you want to make specifically for you. Take a ton of photos of it, wear it to your friend's birthday party, wear it home, ask your grandma if she likes it, ask your teacher if they want to wear it. Like, just wear it as much as possible, and be really enthusiastic about it. That is really how I started, and I got people excited and built a community and an audience who like wanted to see what I was going to do next. And
So
that
what
doesn't
did
solve.
I just want to ask, like,
Go
what
ahead.
did that look like initially? Like, did you just go out, buy fabric, create your first piece, wear it around, and be like, hey guys, like, love my vest, I actually made this? Like, things
Yes,
like that. That's what you're talking about?
it is almost exactly what I did.
Okay,
I went to a,
amazing.
I went to a fabric store. I'll just think of one piece that wasn't all that long ago. I went to a fabric store. I bought some super weird fabric that was meant for upholstery, that
Okay.
was for a couch. I decided I want to make it into a vest. Okay. I toyed around with patterns that I found online. I took an old vest that I liked. One hack that I always do is like, I love my personal wardrobe already. I will like use that and kind of, stencil around it onto paper. Use a paper bag from your groceries, cut it up, open it out. So then you got construction paper. Trace your existing clothes that you like on top of it. Now you got a pattern piece. Add your seam allowance. And if you don't add your seam allowance, that's fine, because you will never make that mistake again, and you will learn to do that next time. Okay, so like the biggest thing, it's just so annoying because I feel like I heard this a lot and it never helped me, but it ended up being true, is to just like make things with no caution whatsoever. Make as many things, because I think the early practice that I wish I would have developed faster and sooner was the practice and habit of creating things constantly, even if they were totally and utterly ugly and nothing that I would wear. But what you're doing is you are developing your aesthetic, which is the most important thing to find as a creative person. is your
Absolutely.
your your vibe. You got to find your vibe, and you do it by making a bunch of crap that you don't like until you start to kind of like it.